Hi class, so today we're going to review the order of operations. Now the order of operations is literally the order in which we operate an expression. So we use the order of operations. Sorry, I did not want that in red, a bit aggressive. Let's go back to black. We use the order of operations when we have more than one operation in an expression. Now remember, our four operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we're essentially saying we have either a combination of all four or parts of these, right? But it's not just all addition or all multiplication anymore. We have at least two different operations. And when that's the case, we have to use a specific order to simplify the problem. So to simplify, I'm pretty sure you've heard of this acronym before, but we use the acronym PEMDAS. So that means each letter stands for the order. So let's go together. I'm going to try to do them in different colors. So the first order, so the thing that you look for first when solving, is P in our PEMDAS, right? P. And what does P stand for? Well, P stands for parentheses. I totally spelled that wrong, excuse me. P stands for, I'm going to write it down here, parentheses. So what does that mean? First of all, I have to be clear. Parentheses that we know, right, are usually like this. However, it really is parentheses or any brackets with operations inside. So that's really important. So it doesn't just have to be parentheses. It could also be straight absolute value symbol as long as there's an operation inside. Brackets could look like this. Brackets could look like this. You could have nesting brackets of brackets in brackets and brackets and parentheses. So it's all these types of things as long as there's an operation inside of them. So let me show you an example. So this is an example of when we would use parentheses first, right? Or brackets or whatever. Say you had 2 minus 3 in parentheses. Awesome. We would do the parentheses first. Now this is different from this, 2 minus 3. Now if you notice, I go and look at the parenthesis, but the only thing in parentheses is a 3. So there's nothing to operate on. They're just there for visual effect. There's nothing wrong with this, but there's actually nothing to operate in. So you can cancel them. They're just there for visual effect or to create noise to confuse you. If they confuse you, get rid of them. If there's no operation inside, they are not necessary, right? What we are looking for is operations inside our parentheses or brackets, and that is what we instantly focus on first. Now, what's important is once you focus on these parentheses or brackets, you use, you still have to use the order of operations. So say you have parentheses in parentheses, you have to do the original parentheses first. That's what you have to do first. So what we do is we go in to out. I don't know, that was a complete mistake of, okay, sorry. We go in to out. So let's give an example. Say we have this. This is a perfect example. So what we do is first of all, I see I have brackets, right? I see I have these outer two brackets. So I focus inside. But inside, I also have these parentheses right here. I'll put them in red. Well, what does that mean I have to do? I have to do these parentheses first. So what I would do is I'd rewrite this. This becomes 2 minus 3 times 9. right? Because if they're in parentheses, remember that's a multiplication. But I simplify the parentheses in the parentheses first. So I always work in to out. All right. Now we don't know how to solve the rest of this yet because we haven't figured out our order of operations for sure. So let's go to our second letter. Our second letter, or our second operation, is E. Now E stands for exponent. Exponents. So if you don't know a lot about exponents, exponents is a base number raised to an exponent, right? So this would be your base, and this would be your power. And what an exponent is it's a multiplication problem. So all it says is that you multiply your base by itself however many times, there's this times, right? We multiply, are indicated in the power. So what would that mean? That would mean, say that I had 2 to the 3. Well, this in expanded form, so if I wrote it out as a multiplication problem, the base is 2, and it says I need to multiply 2 by itself, however many times the power says. Well, the power says 3, so it's 2 times itself 3 times. So the next thing we look for is exponents. All right, awesome. And then we simplify those. Where do we go next? Well, next is M/D. M/D. So I'm putting them together because it stands for multiplication or division. Now, why is this important? Because they are inverse operations. We can operate on them at the same time. Okay, but which one do we do first? Well, we do whichever operation comes first, left to right. So when we traditionally read, right, we read from the left of the page to the right of the page, right? That's how sentences are created, from the left to the right. Math is the same thing. We start at the left, we end at the right. So if you see multiplication, scanning your problem from left to right, you do multiplication first. So whatever comes first in your left to right, that's what you do, right? If you have multiplication, then division, you multiply, then divide. If you have division, then multiplication, you divide, then multiply. Just depends on which comes first. Then last but not least, we have A/S. Now that stands for addition or subtraction. Again, these are inverse operations, so we can do them in the same time. Now, again, the order is we do whichever operation comes first, left to right. So now that we know the steps, P parentheses E exponents, MD multiplication or division, then addition or subtraction, I'm going to pull up this problem that we originally started with, the 2 minus 3 times 5 plus 4 in brackets. I'm going to restart it. So again, we had in brackets 2 minus 3, and 3 is multiplied times 5 plus 4, whatever the value of that is. Now again, when we go into our brackets, we go into, and we still use PEMDAS, so I look for parentheses in my brackets. Yes, I have parentheses. So right here, I made this a 9. Notice I still put it in parentheses because 3 is multiplied by 9, right? Remember, parentheses mean multiplication, so you can't just drop it, especially if there's a number right in front of it. Okay, so now I look for an exponent in this expression. There's none. So what do I go to next? I look for multiplication or division. 2 minus, but 3 times 9. Oh, that's multiplication, so that's what I do. So this becomes 2 minus 27. Now what do? I look for division, there's none, so then I look for addition or subtraction, whichever comes first. In this case, it's subtraction. Notice though, we have learned in this class that we always, when it's subtraction, we keep add, change. So 2 minus 27 is the same as 2 plus negative 27. Now I think, same signs, opposite signs. These are opposite signs, so I subtract. Off to the side, I'm going to do 27 minus 2, 25. I look to see which one has the greater absolute value. It's the negative. The negatives have more. So my final answer is negative 25. So I'm going to create some more videos with some harder problems that we're going to go through step by step. But this is it for this video. Please go on to the next example now. Thank you.